Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Ivan Jue. I teach international business at Cerritos College. Today, we're going to discuss about one of the most important topics in international business: how legal systems, technology, and political environments affect companies operating globally. When companies expand internationally, they are not just selling products in another country. They must also understand different legal systems, different political risks, different technological environments, and different cultural and regulatory expectations. A company that ignores these factors can lose money, damage its reputation, or even be forced to leave a foreign market. By the end of today's lecture, you should understand the major types of legal systems, how technology impacts international business, and how companies manage political risk. So let's start with the legal environment. Why legal systems matter. Every country has its own legal structure. These legal differences influence contracts, employment rules, intellectual property, taxes, trade regulations, and consumer protection. For example, a company operating successfully in the United States may face very different labor laws in Europe or Asia. Here is an example of how Brinks faced problems in Belgium because it did not follow local labor laws regarding severance negotiations. This shows that understanding local law is critical before entering a foreign market. There are four major legal systems. Number one, common law. Common law is based on court decisions and legal precedents. Countries using common law include the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and India. In this system, judges interpret laws and previous court decisions influence future rulings. Contracts are extremely important. Businesses often prefer common law systems because they provide flexibility and predictability. Number two, civil law. Civil law is based on detailed written codes. This system is common in France, Germany, Japan, and much of Europe and Latin America. Here are the characteristics. Laws are codified. Judges apply the written law rather than interpreting precedent. And legal processes tend to be more structured. Companies operating in civil law countries must pay close attention to regulations and administrative procedures. Number three, religious law. Religious law is based on religious teachings. Examples include Islamic law in countries such as Iran and Saudi Arabia. Religion may influence banking, contracts, dress codes, product marketing, and business ownership. For example, Islamic finance prohibits charging traditional interest. International firms must adapt their business models to comply with religious expectations. And number four, bureaucratic law. Bureaucratic law exists where government officials hold significant discretionary power. This is common in dictatorships and former communist systems. In these environments, rules may change suddenly. Contracts may not be consistently enforced. Political relationships become extremely important. This creates uncertainty for international businesses. So, what are the laws affecting international business and domestic laws? Domestic laws affect hiring employees, advertising, product safety, financing, and intellectual property. Even though these laws are domestic, they can affect global competitiveness. For example, environmental or labor regulations may increase production costs, making exports more expensive. International trade laws. Countries also use laws to control international trade. Sanctions. These are restrictions placed on another country to pressure political change. Embargoes. These are complete bans on trade with another country. Export controls. These are restrictions on sensitive products such as military or high-tech goods. Extraterritoriality. When countries apply their laws outside their borders. For example, U.S. antitrust laws may apply to actions occurring outside the United States if they affect U.S. markets. Laws directed against foreign firms. Some governments directly limit foreign businesses. Nationalization. This is when government takes control of private industries. Expropriation. This is when government takes property but provides compensation. Confiscation. Here, the government takes property without compensation. These actions create major risks for multinational corporations. Privatization. The opposite of nationalization. Governments sell state-owned businesses to private investors. Privatization creates opportunities for multinational firms to invest in foreign economies. Repatriation restrictions. Some countries limit how much profit foreign companies can transfer back home. This creates transfer risk because firms may not freely assess their earnings. The impact of multinational corporations on host countries. Multinational corporations, or MNCs, affect host countries economically, politically, and culturally. The positive effects are job creation, infrastructure development, technology transfer, better product quality, and increased customer choice. Here's an example of Carrefour entering China as an example of increased quality and selection for consumers. However, there are negative effects. Local businesses may struggle to compete. Cultural influence may also change local traditions, and MNCs may gain too much political power. Host governments must balance the benefits and risks of foreign investment. International business disputes. International disputes are often complicated because multiple legal systems are involved. Key questions include which country's laws apply, which court should hear the case, should the issue use litigation or arbitration, how will decisions be enforced. Arbitration. Arbitration is very common in international business. The advantages are faster than court, more private, often less expensive, and neutral decision makers. Many international contracts include arbitration clauses. The importance of technology. Technology affects productivity, innovation, and global competitiveness. Countries with strong technological environments usually have better education, better infrastructure, and strong research investment. Technology transfer. Technology transfer occurs when technology moves from one country to another. This can happen through foreign direct investment, licensing, joint ventures, and employee training. Many developing countries encourage foreign firms to bring technology into their economies. These are the major international agreements that protect intellectual property rights, or IPRs, around the world. These agreements help companies, inventors, artists, and creators protect their ideas, inventions, and creative works when doing business internationally. When businesses operate globally, they need legal protection for things like patents, copyrights, trademarks, artistic works, technology, and inventions. Different countries have different laws, so international agreements create common standards. The four major international intellectual property agreements are: number one, Paris Convention. Full name of this is International Convention for the Protection of Industrial Property Rights. What does it protect? Patents, trademarks, and industrial designs. The key idea of this is that if you file for a patent or trademark in one member country, you receive certain protections and priority rights in other member countries. As an example, if a U.S. tech company invents new software or hardware, it can seek protection in other countries more easily through this agreement. So why does it matter? It encourages innovation by helping inventors protect their industrial property internationally. Number two, the Berne Convention. The full name of this is the Berne Convention for the Protection of Literary and Artistic Works. What does it protect? Books, music, movies, software code, and artwork. The key idea here is that copyright protection is automatic among member countries. As an example, a musician or author in the United States automatically receives copyright protection in other participating countries. So why does it matter? It protects creators from piracy and unauthorized copying worldwide. Number three, Universal Copyright Convention, or UCC. The purpose of this is to create an alternative international copyright agreement for countries that were not initially part of the Berne Convention. The focus here is protecting copyrights internationally while allowing more flexibility for different legal systems. As an example, this helps ensure that education materials, films, and publications receive copyright protection across borders. So why does it matter? It expanded global cooperation on copyright protection. TRIPS Agreement. The full name of this is the Trade-Related Intellectual Property Rights Agreement. This is connected to the World Trade Organization, or the WTO. What does it do? It sets the minimum global standards for intellectual property protection and enforcement. This covers patents, copyrights, trademarks, and trade secrets. The key idea here is that countries participating in global trade must follow certain intellectual property protection rules. As an example, if counterfeit software or fake products are sold internationally, TRIPS provides mechanisms for enforcement. Why does it matter? This is one of the most important modern international IP agreements because it links IP protection directly to international trade. Software piracy concerns. Let's face it, software piracy is very real. The software piracy rates are especially high in the following countries: China, India, and Russia. Weak intellectual property protection can cost companies billions of dollars in lost revenue. This is especially important for software firms, entertainment companies, and pharmaceutical companies. Finally, let's discuss about the political environment factor for political risk. Political risk refers to changes in a country's political environment that may negatively affect business operations. Three major categories are: number one, ownership risk. This will be the risk of expropriation or confiscation. Number two, operating risk. This would affect changes affecting operations such as taxes, labor laws, environmental rules, and terrorism. Number three, transfer risk, restrictions on moving money in or out of a country. Here are some examples of political risk. Number 1, expropriation. This means that a government takes control of a foreign company's business or property, sometimes with compensation. Impact on firms. Loss of future profits. The company may lose control over its operations and revenue streams. As an example, an oil company invests in another country and the government nationalizes the oil industry. Number 2, confiscation. Here, the government seizes a company's assets without compensation. The impact on firms, loss of assets and loss of future profits. As an example, a factory, bank account, or equipment is taken by the government during political conflict. The difference from expropriation is that under expropriation, compensation may be provided. However, with confiscation, there is no compensation. Number 3, campaigns against foreign goods. This means that citizens or governments encourage people to avoid buying foreign products. Impact on firms, loss of sales, and then higher public relations and marketing costs to rebuild reputation. As an example, consumers boycott products from another country due to political tensions. Number 4, mandatory labor benefits legislation. This means that governments require companies to provide additional employee benefits such as higher wages, paid leave, health care, and retirement benefits. The impact on firms, increased operating costs. So as an example, a country raises minimum wage laws, increasing labor expenses for multinational companies. Number 5, kidnappings, terrorism, and violence. This refers to political instability or violence that threatens employees and operations. The impact on firms, disrupted production, higher security costs, higher management costs, and lower productivity. As an example, a company operating in a conflict zone may need armed security or evacuation plans. So political risk can reduce profits, increase costs, interrupt operations, and damage company reputation. Because of these risks, multinational companies carefully have to evaluate the political stability, government policies, safety conditions, and legal systems before entering a foreign market. Here are some additional types of political risks that companies may face when operating internationally and how those risks may affect business performance. Number 1, civil wars. Civil wars create extreme instability in a country. The impact on firms, destruction of property. So factories, offices, warehouses, or stores may be damaged or destroyed. Lost sales. Customers stop buying because markets become unstable or unsafe. Disruption of production. Supply chains and manufacturing operations may shut down. Increased security costs. Companies must spend more money on guards, insurance, and protection. Lower productivity. Employees may be unwilling or unable to work efficiently during conflict. As an example, a multinational company operating in a war zone may close factories temporarily because transportation and electricity systems collapse. Number 2, inflation. Inflation means prices rise rapidly over time. What is the impact on firms? Higher operation costs. Businesses pay more for labor, materials, rent, and transportation. As an example, if inflation is very high in a country, a company may struggle to keep prices stable while still making profits. Reparation restrictions. Reparation means transferring profits back to the company's home country. What is the impact? The inability to transfer funds freely. The governments may limit how much money foreign companies can move out of the country. As an example, a company earns profits overseas but cannot send the money back to headquarters because a government currency controls. Number 4, currency devaluations. A government may reduce the value of its currency. What is the impact? Reduced value of repatriated earnings. When profits are converted into the home country's currency, they may be worth less. As an example, a U.S. company earns money in another country, but after the local currency loses value, the profits are worth fewer U.S. dollars. Number 5, increased taxation. Governments may raise taxes on businesses. What is the impact? Lower after-tax profits. Companies keep less money after paying taxes. As an example, a government may increase corporate taxes on foreign companies to raise revenue. The key takeaway from all this is that political risk can significantly affect profitability, operations, supply chains, investment decisions, and international expansion strategies. Because of these risks, multinational companies must carefully analyze a country's political stability, economic conditions, legal system, and currency environment before entering a foreign market. Here are 2 more political risks. Number 1, macro political risk. This affects all foreign businesses or entire industries in a country. Examples are new taxes on foreign companies, war or political instability, trade restrictions, currency controls, and nationalization of industries. These risks impact many companies at the same time. Number 2, micropolitical risk. This affects a specific company, project, or industry rather than all businesses. Here we have an example of Disneyland Paris. French farmers were protesting U.S. agricultural trade policies and chose to block the entrance to Disneyland Paris with tractors because Disney represents an American symbol and culture. So even though Disneyland itself was not involved in agricultural policy, it became a target because it is seen as an American icon. So what should companies learn from all this? International companies must understand local politics, cultural attitudes, and public opinion, because even successful global brands can face protests, boycotts, or disruptions if local groups disagree with foreign governments or policies. Political risk assessment. Before entering a country, firms should ask, is the government stable? Is it democratic or authoritarian? Does it support free markets? Does it favor domestic firms? Does it follow the rule of law? These questions help companies evaluate risk before investing. So how can companies protect themselves against political risk when doing business internationally? They can consider political risk insurance. Here are the main providers of political risk insurance. Number 1, Overseas Private Investment Corporation, or OPIC. This is a U.S. government agency that helped American companies invest abroad. It provides insurance and financing support for investments in developing countries. It also helps protect companies against risks like expropriation, political violence, and currency inconvertibility. The key point here is that OPIC encouraged U.S. businesses to expand internationally by reducing fear of political instability. Today, OPIC has been replaced by the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. Number 2, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, or MIGA. The Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, part of the World Bank Group, provides political risk insurance for international investors. This helps encourage foreign direct investment into developing countries. MIGA covers war and civil disobedience, breach of contract, government restrictions on transferring money, and appropriation. Key point here is that MIGA is especially important for investments in emerging markets where political uncertainty is higher. Number 3, private insurance firms like Lloyd's of London. Lloyd's of London is an example of a private insurer who sell political risk insurance. These companies can customize policies based on their industry and country risk. The advantages are flexible coverage, faster underwriting, and specialized international expertise. So as an example, an oil company investing in a politically unstable country may buy insurance from Lloyd's to protect facilities and investments. I'd also like to bring up a scenario. Imagine if Starbucks opens stores in a foreign country and suddenly the government blocks profits from leaving the country or nationalizes this business. Political risk insurance could compensate Starbucks for part of those losses. Here's a list of the summary questions. As a recap, to succeed internationally, companies must understand legal systems, technology environments, and political risks. Businesses that carefully analyze these factors are more likely to protect their investments, avoid costly mistakes, and build sustainable international operations. International business is not only about selling products globally. It is about successfully operating within different legal, political, and technological systems. So thank you, everyone. I hope you all have found this lecture useful. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.